Claire Morgan sat alone in the corner booth of a little cafe, her hands curled around a cup of coffee that had long since gone cold. Afternoon sunlight streamed through the tall windows, casting a warm glow on the green hanging plants and turning the floating dust into tiny specks of gold. It was the kind of autumn day that usually lifted her spirits, but not today. Today carried the familiar weight of dread. Another blind date. The fifth one this year, courtesy of her meeting overly persistent sister. At 32, Claire had built a life she was proud of. She taught literature at the local college, had published 2 poetry collections, volunteered at the animal shelter, and surrounded herself with true friends. By any reasonable measure, she was content. Yet, in her family's eyes and in the unspoken rules of society, she was missing one crucial thing: a man. Her mother often reminded her, "You'd be perfect if you just lost a little weight." Claire had heard that line too many times. She had spent years fighting her reflection, trying every diet and trend before finally learning to love her own skin. But even now, she couldn't ignore how often people's eyes slid past her, how invisible she felt in a world obsessed with appearances. Claire, she looked up, startled. Standing beside the table was a man with kind, ocean green eyes and dark hair swept neatly back. His tailored suit and confident stance made him look like someone who belonged in glossy magazines, not in her quiet corner. "I'm Ryan Fitzgerald," he said, offering a hand. "Your sister, Emily, set this up." Claire blinked in surprise. This was her blind date. Men who looked like Ryan didn't usually need help finding dates, and they certainly weren't matched with women like her. "Please, sit," she said, trying to sound composed. As he settled in, she caught the expensive watch, the polite smile, the ease of someone used to being noticed. Emily had clearly left out a few details. "I was nervous about this," Ryan admitted. "I haven't been on a blind date since college." "Then why agree to this one?" Claire asked. He laughed, a warm, genuine sound that softened his polished exterior. "Your sister cornered me at work. She told me all about you. And your poetry. I couldn't say no." Claire flushed. "You really didn't have to. I know she can be a bit persistent." He finished with a grin. "Exactly. Do you really think that's why I'm here?" he asked gently when she tried to dismiss him. Claire met his gaze. "Look at you, Ryan, and look at me. I know how this goes. You're here because you were being kind or polite." He studied her quietly, then said, "You've already written the ending to our story, haven't you?" Before I've even had a chance to say a word. Her defenses wavered. He wasn't wrong. "I didn't come here out of obligation," Ryan continued softly. "I came because I read your poetry. The way you write, it's raw, honest, beautiful. You see the world differently, Claire. I wanted to meet the person who could find light in ordinary moments." Her throat tightened. "That's a nice thing to say." "It's the truth," he said. "I've dated people who looked perfect on the outside but were empty inside. I'm tired of pretending. I want something real, someone real." Claire looked down. "I've been told all my life that I'm not enough," she whispered. "That no matter what I achieve, it means nothing if I don't fit some impossible standard. So forgive me if I doubt that a man like you could see me that way." Ryan leaned forward. "You're right," he said softly. "Society keeps telling women like you that no one marries the fat girl. Maybe it's time we prove them wrong." She blinked. "What? Let's prove them wrong," he repeated. "Not because you owe anyone anything, but because you deserve to be chosen for exactly who you are." Claire searched his face and saw something she didn't expect. This wasn't a perfect man offering pity. It was someone who had been hurt too. "My ex-wife left me," he admitted quietly. "Said I cared more about my work than about her. She was right. I built walls to keep myself safe, just like you did. Maybe we both know what it's like to be broken, and maybe that's why we should give this a chance." He extended his hand, hesitant but sincere. Claire looked at it for a long moment before taking it. "Okay," she said softly. "Hi, I'm Claire Morgan. I write poetry, I teach literature, and I'm terrified of being hurt again, but I'm willing to try." Ryan smiled, a light filling his face. "Hi, Claire. I'm Ryan Fitzgerald. I run a tech company. I work too much, and I'm terrified too, but I'd like to try. With you." That afternoon turned into evening as they talked like old friends. She told him about her writing, her struggles, her journey to He shared his own story of success, loneliness, and learning to value connection over appearances. Months later, they were inseparable. Ryan came to her poetry readings, proud and smiling in the front row. She visited his office, where her sister watched them with quiet joy. Not everyone understood. There were stares, whispers, cruel assumptions. But Ryan never wavered. When his mother once asked, "Is she really the kind of woman you want to be seen with?" he replied calmly, "She's the only woman I want to be seen with anywhere." And when Claire's aunt warned her, "Men like him don't marry women like you," Claire smiled and said, "Then it's a good thing Ryan isn't like other men." A year later, he brought her back to that same cafe, the place where everything began. He handed her a leather-bound notebook filled with his thoughts, his journey, and at the end, one question: "Will you keep writing our story with me?" With tears streaming down her cheeks, Claire whispered, "Yes, 1,000 times yes." Their wedding wasn't about grand gestures or perfection. It was a celebration of truth, of love that saw beyond size, beyond expectation. Claire's vows said it best. Thank you for choosing me not in spite of who I am, but because of it. Years later, Claire's third poetry collection was published. Its title, Proving Them Wrong, the dedication read, to Ryan, who saw me when I couldn't see myself, and to everyone, still learning that they are enough exactly as they are. Because sometimes, the greatest act of defiance is simply loving yourself as you are. And sometimes, love finds you when you finally stop believing you have to earn it. This is Whispers of Kindness, reminding you that real beauty begins where comparison ends.